Mberee North who are listening to their member of parliament today that the government led by President William Ruto has hired him to come and lie to Kenyans. When the president was in Mberee, when he was campaigning to be president, on the 1st of July 2022,
my brother,
he held a rally at...
You know,
wait, just 1 minute.
I respect the people in Mberee North.
No, let me just say this.
The people in Mberee North voted me to be...
On the 1st of July...
You know, and some issues, some Northeast issues are not take.
On the 1st of July
2022...
Just a moment.
On the 1st of July.
But you see, he has to withdraw some of these...
Okay, I withdraw.
Okay. You know, you have to withdraw some of these shenanigans.
I withdraw.
We are on a national platform. We are talking on serious things.
Okay, so
we are talking on serious things. He has to be serious.
Let me.
Yes.
This is very serious.
Well noted, kindly.
This is very serious. I withdraw the injection. Let me now inject a bigger injection. I've withdrawn the small injection that I was injecting you with. Let me inject a bigger one. On the 1st of July 2022, President William Ruto held a rally at Ishiara, Mberee North, his constituency. And this is what he said. Nyinyi watu wa hapa Ishiara, mimi nataka kuwaahidi.
President was not in Ishiara in July.
Well,
in July 2022. 1st of July.
He's talking about the campaign period.
The proof is here. William Ruto live from Ishiara. 1st July 2022. Are you still denying?
Before elections.
I can even show you the video. He was campaigning to be president.
Elections.
Okay, this is what he said.
He was not president.
Okay. This is what he said.
Yes,
okay.
He was not president then.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Nyinyi watu wa hapa Ishiara, mimi nataka kuwaahidi kwamba hapa Ishiara hapa tutajenga KMTC ya hapa Ishiara. Ni kweli si kweli? Sijui kama tunaelewana. I want to ask the people of Mberee North who are watching me this morning. Do you have a KMTC at Ishiara which President William Ruto promised you? Because we are talking about fake promises. Promises that are said but never materialized. I've already told Kenyans this morning that pending bills is a problem that the political class have created themselves. And the reason they've created that problem is both pending bills is for corruption. I want to tell you about a project. I want to shock Kenyans this morning. Let me just shock you. Let me take your blood pressure to 170 this morning and tell you this. That at Thwake Dam, Makueni County, a contractor was paid 236 million Kenya shillings extra, not part of what he was supposed to be paid for work.
So how much was he supposed to be paid for?
For interest. The 236 million was interest for late payment. 236 million Thwake Dam, Makueni County. And today, you know, the project is still incomplete. He has been paid 236 million extra. Yani juu ya ile pesa was supposed to be paid for just interest that, you know, we were late to pay you kidogo. We are adding you 236 million just on top. We are losing a lot of public funds through pending bills.
Let me get
and
that,
it is very intentional. It's corruption.
How much was he supposed to be paid initially?
I may have to read the Auditor General's report on Thwake Dam so that I give you those facts. Enough? Just 2 minutes, I'll give you those facts.
Okay, as you look for that, pending bills and breach is where the corruption is at. Because if there is money for a project and you have started paying money for the project, it's only moral, if we don't even go to the legal nitty-gritties, that a contractor would have performed, or rather would have done the project substantially to justify payment, or even claim payment, or even for interest to start accumulating, because that's when you claim it's late. Like, you have a contract, the first payment will be made at this stage of the contract. That stage has not been attained. You're already earning interest on it. The very fact
is that an illegality?
It is, because at what point do you claim payment? Because if there is a contract and there is breach, you cannot claim damages. But we see a scenario where for the Kenyan projects that are running, the breach is very intentional, that wewe fanya kazi, or even if you don't do, then the time lapses, interest that's accruing, then you go and sue for breach. That's the entire chain I was talking about. Because the moment you sue for breach, you get the damages. Those damages that you get, because they are not anybody's money, they are Kenyan money, the taxpayers' monies. That is where now everyone gets their cut.
Okay.
For every little and it is from those interests that are earned that again people get their shares, and then, I mean, it is what we're doing as a country is immoral.
Okay. There is one thing that Honorable Geoffrey Ruku has not told us about Kanyombora irrigation scheme that President William Ruto launched twice. He's not telling us how much was
Kanyombora project.
He's not telling us.
The first one was launched in 2021.
There's something he's not being honest about. The contract for the first contractor was terminated. I want him to be honest on live television today and tell Kenyans how much the contractor was paid for doing nothing. The first contractor who was terminated.
Will you respond to that?
I don't know how much the contractor was paid, the first one, but the moment you terminate any contract, there are obligations. And that's what I'm saying. We need a role. As Parliament of the Republic of Kenya, we are failing Kenyans to some extent.
So
we are failing Kenyans to some extent. We are not providing judiciary, our judiciary, with proper laws which can ensure that public resources are not lost at, will. We need laws in place which can take care of some of these issues which I agree with.
Most of the projects that we are actually relaunching at this particular moment and the contracts that are no longer in place, then we've lost money in that particular project. If we decide to do a fresh particular contract,
the law of contracts
on some of these particular projects, then money
the law of contract is clear. You enter into a contract, you don't meet your bargain, then you stand to pay damages. Whether in private business or in public affairs, we have a problem in this country as far as managing of our public, liabilities, managing our liability, whether internal or external, managing the way we borrow, managing the way locally or internationally, the way we are managing our contracts with contractors, we have a problem there. The Law of Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act of 2015, it requires serious calibration. It requires serious simulations so that it can take care of some of these issues. And that's why I propose 72 amendment of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act.
Okay.
Remember, even the issue of Anti-Corruption and Economic Crime Act amendment, which I propose, there are two ones there. Willing free and prior planning, which are not defined in any law. And those two ones have been used by corrupt individuals in the Republic to escape free. Why is it that we are seeing many people who have been accused, their cases are withdrawn or they are acquitted? And in actual fact, public resources were lost in the process.
Okay,
so we need as Parliament to give Kenyans proper laws. Which one will make corruption very painful? Two, which will ensure when you have a public office, you have to take your work extremely seriously. When you are signing a contract, you must have done your research properly. You must have allocated all the resources in place and ring-fence those resources that they cannot be redirected to other projects. So that project can be implemented and completed.
Now these are laws that you're pushing for.
We have seen where you are given the first payment,
are these laws you're pushing for?
Then after that, there's no other payment and you do some work, you are not paid, you go to court, you are paying serious damages, huge amount of damages. Who pays those damages?
I get your point.
It's the public, it's the people of Kenya. So we need a law to ensure, which will ensure if you are a public officer
Ruku, this is the
and
thing.
you enter into that, you take responsibility. And that is what I'm working on.
I get your point. I'm totally running out of time. A second before I bring in...
Honorable Geoffrey Ruku should know that there is no shortage of laws.
Do we have factory asset management? Kenya government, Kenya. You know when you say there is no shortage of law,
he is not a lawyer.
When you say there is no shortage of
law,
can I educate him?
Give him a minute. Just give him a minute.
Listen, my brother.
Can I educate
him? Listen, my brother.
Let him finish his point, and you're going to the bottom.
I have been in school of law.
I
have been in school of law.
I totally understand.
I have done pieces, several units in law. Listen, today, there is $20 billion trade of virtual asset in the Republic of Kenya. Kenya government does not get not even $1 out of that trade.
Okay.
Why? Because there's no law which is regulating the virtual asset trading in the Republic of Kenya.
What I'm talking about...
How can you sit here and say that there is enough laws in the Republic of Kenya?
What I want to say is, there are enough laws to prevent corruption in Kenya.
Okay.
There is no shortage of laws. Remember, countries like the United Kingdom, they don't even have a constitution. There is no shortage of laws in Kenya to prevent anti-corruption. The problem that we have in Kenya is lack of willingness to fight corruption.
Okay.
Because all these politicians, they are involved. They get some of this money from these contractors.
Okay.
They steal our public funds. They are not willing to fight corruption genuinely. And that is why they keep us in the monkey business of trying to tell us that, oh, you know, the reason this corruption is not ending is because we don't have a certain law. We don't have a certain law. There are already so many laws.
Okay.
Implement those ones first.
Thank you. Brenda, for final remarks on this one, on this conversation.